Yeah. Um, just playing through the final whistle. Um, can't really explain it, but we just got to give each other confidence when we go through stretches like that and just keep fighting, keep believing.
Jalen, just walk me through your mentality in these final kind of plays, the way that you had on Monday and then in these two plays in the final minute today. For you, mentally, how have you been so mentally strong and tough to be able to come through in those moments, even if you struggled in the first half of both games?
Yeah, it's a focus that I need to have at that moment. You can't really worry about what happened previously in the game. It's all about just focusing, having a clear mind, and just trying to win the game. That's just my mindset, and I wouldn't be that way without my teammates.
For both of you, Tibbs got up here and said people always like to talk about offensive runs, but there can be defensive runs and rebounding runs. And he mentioned Josh grabbing a couple boards there in a row. How important is those things when the shots aren't falling, to just do everything else and do it at a high level? And does that turn into the offense getting to where it needs to be?
Yeah, I think so. When you're not making shots, you got to find ways to impact the game in a positive way. And, that could be an offensive rebound, kick out for another opportunity, a defensive steal to get you out in transition and on the break and get an easy bucket. And those things are momentum plays. And, they really compound and they inspire your teammates. So, that's something that we all try to do. And, we know when it gets close in the end of a game, it's a one-possession game. We're very comfortable because we got Captain Clutch.
How big is for you guys to go back home with a 2-0 lead? And what can you tell me about Karl Towns' performance?
I mean, it's very important. Going home, realizing the opportunity we have, we just got to make sure we're still locked in. Nowhere close to being done. Just keep making sure our mindset is the same. And Kat, just the way he started out the game, it was great for us. And just the way he's been throughout the entire season. And he's been one of the best teammates we have. And the way he gives us energy and the way he goes and gets rebounds and what he does, that's doesn't go unnoticed. And it's just the way he's been.
I thought you were tweeting, so I kept refreshing.
Oh, no, I was trying to order some Uber Eats.
You guys both talked before this season about acquiring Mikal and OG specifically because of the Boston element, because of their wings. How about the way that those two guys have been able to hold Brown and Tatum in the first two games of the series, and how important has that been?
I think it's been huge. We give, obviously, OG a tremendous amount of credit. Played huge for us last game. This game offensively really carried us last game, along with JB. And Kel, man, you can't say enough about his toughness and his grit, his mentality. I think he ended up with 14 points. I think he went into the fourth with no points. And fourth quarter, he made huge plays for us offensively to keep us in the game. And defensively, he has the ability to change the whole course of a game. And you give him credit because even when his shot's not falling, he's making, huge plays that impact winning.
Josh, I think they missed 14 straight shot attempts in the fourth quarter. Obviously they kind of unraveled in the first game as well. Can you sense a team unraveling on the court, or a team that's on the ropes, sort of that's kind of ready to take a run on?
Honestly, to be realistic with you, that doesn't come to mind. Our biggest thing is especially when we go on those runs, it's all right, let's get a stop. We get a stop, let's get another stop. Let's get another stop. And like I said, we got guys that can score the ball. And when we're down that much, the only thing we're thinking about is let's get this to a one-possession game towards the end of the game. And like I said, I feel like our defensive intensity picked up in the fourth quarter. Now we got to learn from it, and Saturday put together, a full game.
Mikal has kind of conquered adversity all season long. He struggled, admittedly, to start the year, and then he puts up 40 on Christmas. The weirdness in Portland hits the game winner, and then obviously, like you said, didn't score until the fourth tonight. As the two that know him the longest, what is it about him that allows him to kind of rise to those moments or not be too shaken up by what's the outside noise or what's going around? Or has it been a process for him learning to do that too?
I think it's been like that. Now, just going back to our days in college, just the way that we practiced and we prepared for games, it was more mental than anything. And so when you get to the real life or the real game situations, you practice it, you've been prepared for it, you've been through moments like that. And so I think when you do that at a young age and you have that in your repertoire and you go into your professional career and you just have that in your back pocket, like you've went through it. And so he has the ability to block out the noise. And like I said, no matter what happens, we're going to be together as a team, and we're going to have each other's back regardless. And doesn't matter what a single person or us collectively are going through.
Coach, what can you say about your team? Back-to-back games, 20-point deficits, coming away with 2 victories.
Yeah, and that's the playoffs. You got to keep fighting. Every possession matters, and you got to play all 48 minutes. And so we started slowly, got in a big hole, dug our way out, and then guys made a lot of tough plays. They were at their best when their best was needed down the stretch.
Coach, as far as I know, this is the first time in the NBA playoff history all the road teams won game 1, and the second game you won. There is no more home court advantage in NBA?
It seems like it's changing, so I think just the way the game goes now, you can make up ground, I think, a lot quicker, with the way teams shoot threes. And I know, like, for the writers who are around us, they always think every lead is safe, but it's not. And so everything does matter.
Tom, on that last play, just, I guess, walk us through a little bit. It looked like Mitch and OG basically forced him to the left, and what you saw from there.
Yeah, and I thought there was good team defense on that. There was a swarm, and Tatum is so tough when he gets any speed and he's going downhill. So you need bodies in front of him, and then the pursuit from behind is also important. But I thought in the fourth quarter our defense was outstanding, and that's what we need to do for the entire game. Now we're still really concerned about the rebounding. We have to fix that.
Obviously, you don't want to get in the habit of 20-point comebacks. What does that say about the character of this team?
Well, always have the belief, I think, in each other. I think you get to the playoffs, it's about really your mental toughness, your defense, and your teamwork, and always having the belief that you could do something better and you could find a way to win, right? So it's a long game, keep playing, and that's what they did. And this team has been that way all season long. We dealt with, Mitch being out more than the first half of the season. Then Jalen took the injury in March, and just they kept marching forward, and I think that's important for us. Thought Mitch gave us a huge lift off the bench. Cat was, huge, had the big putback. I think Mikal, the way he scored in the fourth was huge for us. It gave us a lot of confidence. And then, Jalen, that's Jalen. It doesn't matter what's going on in the game. He's going to be at his best when his best is needed. And timely plays, but there was a lot of hustle plays in there as well.
As it pertains to Mikal, you always talk about he's one of those guys that puts in the work. And this is the second game in a row he's come up big in the fourth quarter. What have you learned about him? What does it say about his makeup for him to keep shooting and keep going after those first two quarters?
I think one of the things I really respect about him is his demeanor. He just keeps marching forward. And, He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, but he's a great competitor. And so just find ways to help us win. And if your shot's not dropping, play great defense, move without the ball, push the ball up the floor. I thought we got some fast break baskets in the second half. I thought that helped us a lot as well.
Hey, Tom, when you guys are down 20, Miles comes in, and how much of a spark do you think that was? What do you
Yeah, I
think?
think he and Mitch, because we were flat, and I think they came in and they provided a spark and got us going. We got some stops, and we got into the open floor. A couple shots went down, right, and then everyone started feeling a lot better. And then once we got it inside 10, we always have the belief that we can win.
Tom, with Mitch, he's been on a lot of these switches during these first two games, and he seems to have really held his own in most of those situations. When did you feel like he was really somebody who you trusted guarding perimeter players out there?
About 4 years ago.
It was there because early in his career he hung
Well,
around
the first
rim.
thing, yeah, he's got great feet and anticipation. So I think the challenge was when we first got here was he's really got it's not only his defense, but he's very disciplined. And I think that was probably the piece, like for most young players. Once he got to know the players better, and then learning how to become the second jumper, I think all those things helped eliminate, the reckless fouls. And he's a huge factor. He's a hard guy to score over. So even if you score over him, it's going to be a tough shot. And so I think he's learned that. He doesn't whack down anymore. Those cheap fouls are gone.
Tom, when you think about clutch, a lot of people consider that offensive, but now this is the second time that Mikhail's come up big, the game on the line on defense.
Yeah.
Is clutch defense a thing?
Yeah, like people always talk about offensive runs. I think you go on defensive runs as well. You also go on rebounding runs. You'll see guys, all of a sudden, they have, like Josh is a prime example. All of a sudden, he has 2 or 3 rebounds, and then he'll get like 4 or 5 in a row. So it's like making shots. And so I think whatever it takes for us to win, like Carl had the big and one, Mikhail with timely baskets, Jalen with timely baskets, Josh with his hustle, Mitch all over the floor, switching, guarding, great impact. But that's a team working together.
It was no secret that you guys got OG and Mikhail, but not for Boston, but with Boston in mind. And the whole, Tatum and Brown for what they did tonight, they did in the first 2 games. Is that kind of what you envisioned?
Well, not necessarily. I think a premium has been put on long wings in the league, and versatility. So guys who can guard 2, 3, 4, and even point guards as well. So we got them because we felt they were good players and they could make us better. And I think the length at that position, at the wing position, is huge because you're asking guys, particularly with 5 out, to get in, protect the paint, but also to get out and cover the line. And then when the ball gets shot, to also rebound. So I think the length is very important. And, and just having the versatility to play 2, 3, and 4, what it also allows you to do is do a lot more switching.
Coach, how critical is Hart's offense, given that they're helping a lot off of him digging, and how critical is it for him to just make shots and make plays and when the time comes?
Yeah, and I think you saw like a variety of, the way he scored, like the transition and the pace are like his strengths. And then he's real clever. He plays a lot bigger than his size. So the rebounding, but also the finishing ability inside. But then he's worked a lot on his shooting. If you leave him open, he's not hesitating, just let it fly. But I think that's huge for us. And particularly if you're going to overcommit, right, we got to trust the pass, trust each other, trust your teammates, and you're going to have an advantage on the backside. Anytime you put 2 on the ball, there's advantages in other areas. And so same thing, Carl gets double-teamed all the time, Jalen gets double-teamed all the time. So just trust each other, make the right play, and usually the second pass against the blitz or the double team in a post is going to get you a high-quality shot. I am.
Can you give yourself a moment?
No, that's the beauty of the playoffs, you know, and it really, you know, you can't get wrapped up in the emotions of it. I think it's important, you know, you look forward to the next game, but to understand, okay, it's a series, but you have to focus on the game that you're playing. You know, what is it going to take to win that game? So we know each game, right? There's going to be more force and more aggression in it, and we have to be ready for that. And so all we have to do is make sure that we're focusing on what it's going to take to win Game 3.
Coach, the Celtics took 20 fewer three-point attempts but shot the same percentage, 25%. I know it was a concern about how many shots the three-pointers the Celtics get up. Like, how impressed were you, and what was that a key to allowing you guys to come back and win, holding to that percentage, even though they took fewer shots?
And again, it's hard to say, like, I want to look at the film to look at the quality of their shots. They have a style of play. I think they do a terrific job. They're strong on both sides of the ball. So we know we have to play for 48 minutes against them. And if you give them open shots, they're going to make them. If you give them a second crack at it, they're going to make you pay. And it's not just, you know, it's their transition also. And then what they do on the offensive board to get the kickouts and a second and third look at it, they're very quick to the ball. So we have to make sure that we're putting bodies on them.